Welcome back to the Social Club season review. Robbie's dropped in because we're doing 1st to 5th. Not this 1st to 5th, the actual 1st to 5th.
Where's the FA Cup predictor?
Shut up.
FA Cup predictor.
Here we go, FA Cup.
We'll get into that. So
it's all about trophies, isn't it? As you said.
Robbie, I'm still hurting. All right, can we stop, please?
Well, do you know what? Let's concentrate on the league first, and then we can discuss that spin of trophies mattering or not.
Yeah.
So we put you down as 6th. Chris, why did we put Arsenal down as 6th?
I can't remember, James. I think it was mainly you.
Yeah, it was actually Flav.
It was mainly me. It was mainly Flav. The reason why we ended up with putting you 6th was, one, because Flav was quite keen on it. But the reasons behind it were what actually came to be a lot of the season for Arsenal is the difficulties between the fans and the manager and how that was going to affect everything else, the results. And what was your prediction for us?
I thought that we would finish in the top 4. I thought we'd probably finish about 3rd, to be honest. I had, that's quite, Man City or Man United, I had one of them two winning it. I had us 3rd. I think I had Chelsea 4th in my predictions. So Chelsea were a big surprise, weren't they? They surprised everybody. But certainly I didn't think we'd finish 5th. I thought we were terrible in the league this season. We lost 9 games, and it's just like, we were just extraordinary. Some of the games we lost as well. The one against Palace, West Brom, Watford. You look at those games now and you're like, one win in those games and we would have been in the top 4. So it was a really, really bad season for us in the league.
But you improved on the year before.
Sorry?
You improved on the year before, didn't you? You got 3 more points in the league.
But to me, those sort of stats mean nothing. It's about where you finished in the league. You could get 100 points and you still finish 10th. It's no good, is it? We just didn't. The only difference was that we either lost or we won games. We didn't draw many games, and that's why, yes, we got a load more points because you get 3 points for a win. But the performances as well were poor. We didn't play good football. We didn't come to life until near the end of the season, which was, start of the season we weren't too bad, end of the season, but in between, it was terrible. Right up until Christmas, we were doing okay, but I remember it clearly. We lost to Everton, then we lost back-to-back away games, Everton and Manchester City, and then after that we just fell apart. Went to Bournemouth, were 3-0 down. Got it back to 3-3, and there was just some really, really poor away performances in particular by Arsenal, and that's what cost us.
So if you were marking Arsenal's season, like A+ being, I guess, Chelsea's season, where would you put them?
Well, if I was marking it, I'd say it was a D.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was that bad.
Would you agree with that as non-Arsenal fan?
Probably not. No.
In the league, it's a D for me. In the league. With we'd spent quite a lot of money, which is unusual for us, but we bought in Mustafi, we bought in Granit Xhaka. We spent £90 million, right? And for me, for what we spent, we finished 2nd the year before, right? It's a D for me. We were poor, especially on the road. And as I said, some of the losses, we actually did a lot better against the bigger teams this season. But some of the, because we got beaten by Chelsea, but we beat Chelsea at home. We beat Man United at home. We lost to Liverpool, yes. City, we drew with them, lost them. So against the bigger teams, we weren't terrible. But against some of those teams like West Brom, Palace, you've got to be Watford. You've got to be destroying these teams if you're going to, be up there. So for me, that's a D.
But surely I get it. But surely if you're getting more points each season, sooner or later, you're going in the right direction.
I think, look, from the start,
against harder teams,
I don't think Arsenal were the second best in the team last season, second best in the league last season. I think, once Tottenham failed to win the league and, failed to catch up with Leicester, then their season ended and Arsenal overtook them. That's what I thought of it anyway.
Yeah, it was a bit of a false position finishing 2nd last year. Tottenham were a better team than us last season. They're a much better team than us this season, even though in their most successful season ever, they still haven't won a trophy.
Straight on that when you're Robbie.
I've got to get that in.
Yeah.
But they in the league. They were a good team. But I just think that, teams that we lost against, I look at some of those, and then I see the performances towards the end of the season. I see how we dispatched of teams like Stoke, Southampton, those sort of teams. And I just think to myself...
It's that same key patch, isn't it? It's that same February, March. And that is...
But it was even worse. Yeah, but for this year, it was even worse.
10-2.
West Brom.
Even worse. And then,
10-2. That's all I'm going to say. 10-2.
Okay. Got it, mate.
10 to what?
10-2.
10-3?
10-2.
FA Cup final starts.
10-2.
And that's the frustrating thing about it, right, is that the champions, Chelsea, we played them 3 times, we beat them twice, And the 2 times we beat them were very convincing.
Yeah.
It just shows that, but the consistency weren't there. Chelsea were doing it week in, week out. We were doing it in one-off performances. Played Man United, beat them 2-0. One-off performances, yes, we were, but you've got to do it over a season. And that is the challenge for next season for Arsenal, to get consistency back, to stop, falling. Yeah, you lose a couple of games, just get it back together and fall apart. That's what we were doing. And it was really painful to watch in the league this season. Really painful,
4th, which is the one that we got right. Yes. We got 1 out of 20 right.
Just about scraped it.
Just about got that one. A massively successful season, don't you think? Or despite actually, you wanted them second.
I thought we were good enough to finish second this season. I think we proved in the early parts of the season that we can be a dominant force in the Premier League. Look, everybody knows about our January and our capitulation in January. Ultimately, Klopp had to trim the squad this season because we didn't have any European football. So as much as people will say it's the lack of no European football that's got us into 4th, we trimmed the squad massively. We've trimmed the wage bill, we trimmed the squad. We didn't have as many players as all the other big sides around us. That is what hurt us in the end. And I think, for me personally, I wanted Klopp to buy someone in January. I felt we needed someone to really push us on and make sure that we get top 4. I'm hoping that Klopp's philosophy was, I could spend 20 million now and then not be good enough for if we get the Champions League. But I think he saved that money such that we're a better proposition with Champions League football. And I think that's why we didn't spend in January. And it was a big risk and one that I wouldn't have taken. But ultimately, it seems to me like he made the right call at the right time.
Can I say something that might be a bit controversial? Liverpool fans watching this, yeah? Liverpool should have been challenged for the league.
Yeah,
right.
I
think if I was a Liverpool fan, finishing 4th and just scraping it as well, 1 point above us, who also, as I said, performed poor, I think you really threw the league. It's comparable, I think, to even when they finished second. In that Liverpool, when we played against Liverpool, the first game of the season and at Anfield, for me, as good as Chelsea, they beat all the teams up there as well. And then every time they play little small teams at home that they're supposed to batter, they drop points to those teams. If you actually go and look at some of those games that they drew and they lost to teams like Burnley, and if they'd have won those games, if they'd have won the games they were supposed to have won, they would have won the league.
Yeah, I mean, undefeated against the top.
Yeah, and like you said, you might not get that chance again next year because you're going to have Champions League football. Just like I don't think Chelsea will do. I think Chelsea will still be strong next season, but not as strong. Because there's definitely an effect when you've got a European football.
We won't win the league. We won't win the league.
When you've got European football, the fact that you play those games, tough away games, tough games during the week against really good teams, you can see the stats tell you it has an effect when you go to play it at the weekend. So they both had an opportunity. Chelsea sees theirs. I was a bit, disappointed in Liverpool. For me, they were as good as Tottenham.
Is it one where
Liverpool were blowing away teams?
Yeah, well that's it, isn't it? Isn't it that your head goes, what was the aim at the start of the season? It's to get into the Champions League, and you got it. But your heart,
I'm with Robbie.
Like you watch those games,
I think Liverpool should have challenged. We were top of the table at one point. We were flying. Chelsea went on a mad unbeaten run, and we were still only 6 points behind them at the end of, was it 13 games? Bounce. Top 7 sides. We played 12 games. We won 7 of them, and we drew 5. We didn't lose against the top 7 all season.
Why couldn't you beat the lesser side?
Look, who knows? But I think a large part of that was down to the fact that we've had massive injuries, and I'm not saying we're the
Mane
only team in
was
the
a-
league that's had injuries. We had Mane injured, we've had Henderson injured for a lot of the season, we've had Lallana injured, we played Firmino out of position, Sturridge hasn't really been
But
firing.
then that's where probably I think Klopp made a mistake in January, because he should have strengthened, because he shouldn't have been thinking about top 4. He should have been thinking about winning the league. They were good enough this season, the way they played. To me, everyone goes on about Tottenham, so how exciting they were watching them play. I think Liverpool just as exciting, if not better. Tottenham turned it on later on, right? And a lot of teams were on the beach. They turned it. Liverpool were turning it on.
I think that's unfair. That's unfair.
No, Tottenham's big performances.
Kane was out for months.
He still came back.
What
and
I'm
finished
saying
top
is
goal
Tottenham's big performances when they really turned it on towards the end of the season, yeah? Right? Liverpool were blowing away big teams, right? Liverpool were blowing away big teams all season, right? They beat us, put 4 past us, 3 past us. They blew away City. They beat Tottenham.
Beat us.
Beat Chelsea. At Chelsea, remember? They honestly,
Spurs beat you. Spurs beat you.
Yeah, Spurs
I
beat
think
us.
the
Spurs
table
beat-
doesn't lie. The table doesn't lie. I think you get
No,
the
the
start.
table don't lie, but what I'm saying, that's why I'd be disappointed if I was a Liverpool fan. Because I honestly, if you really assess Liverpool's season,
There's a slight opportunity.
they should have been challenging to win the league top 4. It shouldn't have been about. They've done a bit of an Arsenal where they're just
The
it's almost
difference
like.
is, though, I think I agree with you. At the start of the season, we should have been challenging. At the end of the season, I think we got away with it. Come the end of the season, we were hanging on for dear life because Arsenal were blowing sides away, and we were coming from behind to beat Stoke. There is 2 clear halves of the season. In the end, we've done enough.
Yeah, and that's what I'm just saying. That I just feel that if he'd have went out in January and bought maybe even the 2 players in, you never know. That could have been the difference, but.
And you'd know. I mean, Wenger's had that opportunity most
That's
years.
why I know. That's why I speak as I speak as an expert, right? Because every year I've seen us do that so many times, and that's why, and then it comes to the end of the season, and people are like, "Well, we made it into the Champions League places," and I'm looking at it and thinking, "Well, hold on, if we would have gone out there and bought those couple of extra players in January and really pushed and hadn't lost to certain teams, we'd have won the league, top 4, So, but.
The difficulty for Liverpool is how do you bridge that gap with the teams above us?
Players.
Tottenham Hotspur, we finished 16 points behind them. No, sorry, hang on a minute. We gained 16 points this season on what we had last season. Tottenham improved by 16 points again from the season before. So if you look at them as on a graph, and apologies for this, Tottenham have gone like that and we've gone like that. How do we bridge that gap? You know what I mean? That's the difficulty because Tottenham are a fantastic side.
As I said, it will get harder with Champions League football. Even Tottenham,
Tottenham played a lot of European football.
Well, they didn't play much, did they?
Well, they played in 2 different competitions.
They got knocked out. Didn't even get beyond the group stages in the Champions League. Remember? And then they went into the Europa League. They got knocked out of that by Genk.
But in terms of the amount of games that you played, they played the same amount of games you played in Europe.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Did they?
Yeah.
No, but then it was in the Europa League.
No buts, doesn't matter. You can't say but it's Europa League, because next season you will be saying, if you finish top 4, you'll be there going, yeah, Europa League, yeah, it's great, yeah, it's fine.
Listen, the Europa League for me is, and hopefully we can win it next season when we're in it, but for me, and I said this to a United fan, the Europa League for me is the European League Cup. That's what I look on it.
But surely
any competition,
I bet you were celebrating when you won the Cup Winners' Cup back in the day.
Any competition, the Cup Winners' Cup used to be different in those days.
That was literally the League Cup.
No, it was different. You know why? You know why it's different. You know why it was different, right? Because you couldn't drop out. You got teams dropping out of the Champions League and joining another.
But
what kind of competitions?
Robbie, put it this way. So, Arsenal. Let's put it this way. If Wenger stays, in my opinion, you will not be challenging for top 4. End of. If you...
For the top 4?
You won't be challenging for top 4.
I don't agree with you.
No, wait, hear me out. Would you take winning the Europa League to guarantee Champions League qualification, or would you try and challenge for top 4 come out the Europa League and end up in this gap again and stay in the Europa League?
Well, that's stupid. You're going to take the Champions League.
So why is he saying it's a rubbish cup then?
Because
it is a rubbish cup.
But would you say it's Champions League football?
Play 70 games and maybe get in the Champions League, or I'll guarantee you a Europa League win to get in the Champions League.
Listen,
I mean, really, he's going to take the Champions League.
I want to do well in the league. Yeah, that's where I want to do well in the league. Yeah, so the Europa League, yes, I'm all for next season. Wenger playing lots of youngsters and up and coming players in the Europa League until it gets serious, right? If we get that far, but you know what I mean. For me, I'd rather us do the league and even the FA Cup. I value more than the Europa League. All right, I suppose Europa League now you got that Champions League place. They bought in the Champions League place because the competition, everyone was taking it like a joke. It didn't have much value on it because people look on it and say, how can you take this competition seriously when teams drop out, third place in qualifying for the Champions League and enter into it.
I'd rather win the Europa League than the FA Cup, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd rather win the FA Cup.
Let's move forward.
Man City. Would you rather win the FA Cup?
No, I'd rather than the Europa League.
European
trophy, Robbie.
Right,
European trophy.
Right, enough. Man City, right?
I'm not going to mention the FA Cup again.
Okay, good. We said first. Everyone said first with Man City. I did a bit of reading on it, and there's one article. There's one sentence. He said, "All's well that ends well." City are back in the Champions League and won't have to play a qualifier this season. That to me is nonsense.
It's nonsense.
This is a team with a manager that everyone had unbelievable pedigree. He was able to spend a decent amount of money, and everyone put them top.
What annoys me is that I spoke to City fans at the beginning of the season. Pep Guardiola, we're guaranteed we're going to win stuff. We're going to be fine. And then as soon as it hits halfway, no. This season's all about building. What annoys me is Pep Guardiola, with all this pedigree, I'm sorry, but being in a Barcelona team, which, let's be honest, was the best team in that league, and he's done well with them, great. But going to Germany, Bayern Munich being basically guaranteed to win the league every year. It's all well and good winning leagues and like those top leagues, because I'm not saying they're not bad leagues, but there's no competition. As soon as he's come up against competition where if you do go to Crystal Palace away and you do lose 1-0, he loses it. That's what does my head in about.
I think the positive spin on it, as an English guy who watches Premier League football, is that he's found a league that's a lot. If it's a high quality or not, it's been a more difficult league for him to dominate, and that's a good thing. And I think he's certainly made mistakes in terms of, because actually it started off really well. Great start to the season.
Wins.
I think it was more, wasn't it? 10? Was it 10 off the bat? Off the bat?
Wow. And then, people were saying that they're going to win it.
Yeah, beating Barcelona in the Champions League 3-1 November.
I think people were saying.
Yeah. They
say that every season about a team that goes on a run.
But he has made mistakes this season.
But you know what?
Thing has not worked out.
Do you know what? Let me say another thing, James. I'm going to be controversial again. Right? Pep Guardiola's got away with one this season again. When people, and I think what you said there is nonsense. You're right. You look at the big decisions that were made, that he made, that he's cost them. He got rid of Joe Hart. Yeah. He brought in Bravo. He said, "No, we need to keep a sweeper keeper." Bravo's a disaster. Yeah, that's him. A lot of people don't look on that. They're like, "Oh well," until Pep gets his team together. Pep brought him in. Pep brought in John Stones. Yeah, their defence was terrible. That's Pep. Pep brought in Nolito.
I think it's not just
right. Right. All right. Towards the end of the season, the attacking wise, with Sane and Jesus and that, great, but defensively was where they flopped, yeah? And that's all Pep.
To be fair,
Pep decided to keep, with Sanya and Clichy. That was all Pep. That was all Pep.
And,
right?
and also the style of play that he's trying to.
Yeah, and what cost them? Their defence. And I'll never forget. Right, I remember we played them in a friendly in Sweden. Right, and I remember watching them that day, and I was like, they was playing some great football. I remember the first half, I think it was 1-0, they were 1-0 up. I also ended up beating them, I think it was 3-1. And it was noticeable that in the second half, I know it was only a friendly, Arsenal just pressed, they were trying to play the ball out, and Arsenal just pressured them, and they kept winning the ball, and that's how and I was like, you know what, I was going, I see how Pep's trying to play, but in the Premier League, you can't do that all the time. You've got to mix it up a bit because you don't get the time. And that's what I think that, you know, he was trying to play that style of football with the defenders he's had, with the goalkeeper who weren't used to it. He made those changes and that's what cost them. Now, he'll probably go big and spend more money again to try and fix that.
Yeah, to be fair to him, he's getting his business done early now this season. But
to me,
he didn't do it.
You know,
didn't do it last year.
You look at where it cost them, and it was defensively, and he bought in John Stones, 50 million, and Bravo, a lot of money as well. And you know, those both, you got to say, you know, everyone. A lot of times people try not to blame John Stones. Oh, it weren't John Stones' fault, it was Otamendi, or they're always blaming other people. But he's been poor.
To be
I
fair,
agree. I think
Stones has been poor.
I think it's down to
Simple as.
Guardiola's ego. A lot of these problems. You know, I think he's come in and he's had an idea.
Ego or principles?
Ego.
Think of the way he reacts in press conferences and stuff. It's like he believes, because he's Pep Guardiola and because of the success that he's had in previous years, that everybody should just give it to him. That it should be easy for him, and that his recipe for winning works in every league. And you know, I'm not saying they won't be successful. I actually think they will be successful.
Yeah, I'd say you've got to be
Bravo's
scared
a
of them
bad
for next
mistake.
season, though.
You know, the defence, as Robbie rightly points out, was terrible. Whereas Conte came in and didn't have the ego, played the way with the flat back four until he deemed that team ready to change. Pep Guardiola come in and goes, no, we're doing it my way, and it's backfired ultimately. Whereas Conte comes in and does it in a kind of humble way, lets the team develop a little bit, buys the right pieces to the puzzle,
Conte,
and then goes and wins
with
it.
Conte, what happened was sort of, he was obviously sat down with the board, Emanala, and they went, right, we want to play 4 at the back. He went, yeah, all right, dealt with it. Then as soon as we lost to this lot, he was like, no, we're doing it my way, and it's come out and it's worked because.
What's the difference between that and Guardiola?
I think it like, I'm not going to say ego.
Entitlement. I think that's what Pep has.
So here's the question for you. So this season was all about the managers, the new managers, the managers of those top 6 sides. Where is Guardiola out of those top 6? Is he? Because I think he's definitely got things wrong. But I tell you what, I'll be very surprised if he doesn't learn from him and dominate at some point with Man City.
Managerial top 6 for this season. You've got to say obviously Conte number 1, Pochettino number 2. I'd say Klopp 3, Guardiola 4.
I know how much you hate Mourinho. I can see him trying to figure it out.
It's like a joint between I'd say Mourinho above Wenger, because Mourinho, they drew a lot of games. Arsene Wenger lost in the 9 games. That was just not acceptable for a team of Arsenal
Same question, not this season, overall.
Yeah, but that's
things
tough.
happen. Things happen. No, come on.
No,
What's your order?
I think Guardiola will go down as one of the greatest Premier League managers ever. I think, you know, he can evolve his tactics to suit the Premier League. I think he came in and tried too much too soon. I think that's what his problem was this season. Look, James, we're talking about this season at the moment, and that's why I'm being harsh on him. But I think over the fullness of time, Man City will be dominant.
I think you've got to be fearful of City next season. Already, if you see the business they're doing, Bernardo Silva's a brilliant player. That's an excellent signing. I think he's going to go away and he's going to look at the season and know that, you know, because remember, City just scraped into the top 4 as well, and they didn't win a trophy, right? So even he said that if he'd have been at another club, a big club, he said, he'd have got sacked probably, you know, in Europe. So I think he's going to go away and he's going to realise that, and I think they're going to be very strong.
For me, it's a case of
City. They're going to be the team to beat, I think.
With Guardiola, I will happily eat my words when it happens. I just think the way that he has come into the Premier League this season, and he has been egotistical. And I mean, I might be biased because I do like Mourinho. Mourinho was a Chelsea manager and I loved him. But for me, the way that he reacted in press conferences, the way he tried to implement his style and it didn't work, the way that he almost just came, he was like, nah, you know what, I'll be fine, I'll do whatever. That's why I'm there going, I've really not been impressed by Pep Guardiola when he's coming as the world's best.
Last year or Guardiola this season then?
It's like, well, you know, but it's a case of, for me, I'm kind of on a par. No, seriously. I mean, Mourinho was shocking for us last year, but for City, this is without doubt a massive failure because they were tipped, and the way the manager they had
in the league,
and the pressure, it's been a massive failure.
In the league, massive failure for Man United as well, I think. In the league.
Oh no, I agree with
you. There's a video for Man United because this is going to be an hour-long thing otherwise. So Man United, if you want to check out how our feelings and Sam from United people's feelings on Man United in their season, They're in a separate video between 6th and 12th. They didn't make it into the top 5, so we don't get to talk about them, Robbie, I'm afraid.
Good.
But, but what we can talk about is Spurs and Chelsea. They're the final two, obviously, the top two. There wasn't a title race.
I won't be in this video either.
yeah, you're going to walk off. There wasn't a title race, really. We were hoping, we were trying to drive one into existence. But, or am I right? Am I fair in saying that? Or were Chelsea just
I was scared.
fantastically strong, both psychologically and in the pattern of play that they had? And the formation that they had?
I think Spurs, Pochettino, kind of doesn't their season and the way that people are saying because they haven't won a trophy, because they finished with Arsenal, and then the people are taking mickey out of it. I don't think that's fair. I think Spurs. I'm a pessimist, and you know that. So I was always worried about Spurs because Spurs are a very, very, very good team, and there's no doubt in it. But I don't know. It almost seems like psychologically, we were just ready for most games, and then as soon as it started to, as soon as the season was finishing, you know, we kind of lost that edge again, and that's why we lost the FA Cup final. But I think overall, Spurs have been they've been very good this year, and I don't think it's fair to say that there hasn't been a title chance because they did get relatively close.
No. It's typical Spurs. It's typical Spurs for there to be a situation where, despite them doing as brilliantly as they've done this season, somehow you can have the chat over them. But one question I would ask is that out of all of those guys, you're probably happiest being a Spurs fan, are you not? Apart from Chelsea.
I think
happy being a Spurs fan and an Arsenal fan.
I think
right
they're
now.
unbelievable. I think Tottenham are absolutely fantastic side. The fact that they've got 3 players who scored more than 20 goals in all competitions. You know, they had Harry Kane, they had Son, and they had Dele Alli, all scoring over 20 goals. The defence is the best in the league. Eriksen stepped it up and got assists and goals. I think total 20, 13 assists, maybe 7 goals, something like that.
More goals than anyone, less goals conceded than anyone.
Goal difference was
Let me be controversial again.
Oh God, here we go.
Let me be controversial again. They've got a great team. They're better than Arsenal. They're better than Arsenal at the moment. But as I keep saying, and I've said this before on social clubs and that, for me, people keep telling me Pochettino is this great manager. Yeah, he's a very good manager. Stop saying great until he wins something. He has not won anything yet. Yet again this season. Right? When it came, there was a title race building. They had to go to West Ham. Yeah.
Oh come on! They've won so many games.
Hold on. When it really mattered, listen, let me tell you something now. Right?
11 points.
You win 50 on the trot. When it really matters, when you're going to win the league.
Ask Man United.
If it had been Chelsea, and if it had been Chelsea going to West Ham, do you think they would have got beaten in the manner they did?
I mean,
they went to West Ham, right? Everyone's been going to the London Stadium and turning them over. We beat them 5-1, right? And they got beat. And they didn't just get beat, they deserved to lose that game.
Isn't another big game when it matters playing Arsenal? Isn't another big game when it matters?
No, the league's finished then. The league's, I'm on about, they had a chance to put pressure. I think, if I remember rightly, Chelsea were playing after them.
Yeah,
right? Well. So if they won that game, they would have been like a point behind them or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
Was it Friday night football?
Playing on a Friday, chance to put pressure. They flopped. They flopped in the Champions League. They didn't get beyond the group stages. They got beaten by Genk in the Europa League. He's a very good manager, but the jury is still, until you win something.
The jury's not out, Robbie.
Everyone keeps,
Robbie.
oh, Spurs, oh, brilliant.
Robbie,
they're a very good team, but they ain't won nothing.
No, but Robbie, Pochettino is a good manager. He's a very, very, very good manager. But what you're
He's
saying
a very
about,
good manager,
but what you're saying
People
about
are
the
telling me he's
Champions
great.
League, what you're saying about the Champions League and Genk, what does that mean about Wenger? I'm sorry, but you cannot say just they haven't gone out. Just because they haven't. No, but Robbie,
have I not sat here and said to you, I've given us a D?
I know,
right? I've said Wenger's been awful this season. We've been awful.
That's an A+.
Did I not say? Wait a minute.
That's an A+ if you're
We've been
Spurs.
awful in
If
the
you're
league.
second.
But what I'm saying is, for Spurs, right? When the dust settles and you look at it, right, and you look at it, you say to yourself, you had a chance, just like the year before, to put big pressure when those big moments came in the season. You can go on a 10-game run, brilliant. But when the big moment comes, that's when the champions, when you are that great manager, when you are the champions, when that big moment comes, that's when you have to deliver. And 2 years in a row now, Spurs have not done that. Against Chelsea last year, when they could have put big pressure on Leicester, they flopped. And this year, I thought this one was worse. I was looking at us, because obviously I don't want Spurs to win the league, but I was looking, I was thinking, West Ham. I'm going, oh, bloody hell, man. They're going to be a point behind these lot by then. And they lost to West Ham.
At least they got to a position where they had the game to flop. Do you know what I mean?
Lovely.
They got a lot of points.
If you're a Spurs fan, this is the best season you've ever had in the Premier League. That's a fantastic season. And the reason they're not quite getting there is because the team is still quite young. You give it a couple of years. We had the right mix of experience and young and relatively.
You're missing out on opportunities. I think I'm just trying to look at every team in this top 5 and assess it honestly. I was honest on my team. I was honest about Liverpool. Then I think that Liverpool, from what I saw, because I saw Liverpool in the flesh, I thought they were just as good as Tottenham. Yeah. Just as good as Tottenham, the way they attack teams, the way where they're fluid, but again, their defence needed to be better. But I looked at Tottenham and I'm like, they got a great team. When they played us at their place, they blitzed us. They were a better team than us. But I'd be disappointed, really. That they, not necessarily that they didn't win the league, but that when that moment came for them to put
this Spurs team will win the league before Arsenal does. I'm telling you that now, and that is on record. They will win the league before Arsenal.
They've missed their chance.
Okay.
They missed their chance.
Well, I guess the reason they missed a chance, I think the stat is something like
they've missed their chance.
86 points would have won you the league in 11 seasons or something since the Premier League started. Chelsea got 93 points.
Second highest point total.
Yeah, behind our first one.
Unbelievable.
95 points.
And if you just their luck, they get 100 next season, someone get 105, you know what I mean?
You were getting 100 for 10th a minute ago, weren't you?
Where did you put Chelsea?
5th.
You put, so same as us.
To be honest, I was having this conversation with one of my regulars, Craig, the other day. And then I went to
regular what?
Is that you, Craig?
It's not Craig. It's other Craig. It's another Craig.
It's
not your Craig. It's my Craig.
Right, okay.
I was having a question with my Craig, and we were saying if you'd said to us we get the second highest points total, win the league, and reach the FA Cup final at the beginning of the season, I'd bitten your hand off straight away. Because after last season,
No, it's fair point. Go on, carry on.
Because everyone thought, after last season, the way the squad performed, the behaviour within the squad, just the overall morale, it just didn't seem to be there. But it's just there's something about Conte, which when he first came in, the jury was out because people consider the Serie A not a strong league, but the way that he operates, he fitted that into Chelsea. He's made it a fortress again. And when I say fortress, yes, we don't make a lot of noise. But in terms of mentality, I go into games now going, even when I'm going, we might be unlucky, I'm still there going, we have a really good chance of winning this game today. Whereas previously I've been there going, it's the Premier League, don't know what's happening. I'll go with Conte, you know what, I trust him, he knows what he's doing. And he's been there, he's adapted his system. He has come in, I'm going to put it out and say, revolutionise how teams play in the Premier League. He was the first to play through at the back, and then people followed suit because it worked.
No.
This season.
But how many?
The thing about him is he won as I said, going back to sort of the reference in that Spurs thing, when it mattered, when they had that little blip, they had a game. I think it was away at Everton. Everton are unbeaten all season at home, and they went there and they destroyed them, right? And that's what we're from then on going to. That's the difference. The guy is a top manager because when those games, them crunch games that matters, he delivered in those games. So that's what makes you a great manager. Not very good, great. And he has been great this season.
He's been unbelievable because I actually agree with you. I think that, the three at the back stuff, it's been brilliant the way that he's utilised that. He's come into the league and he analysed in those first 2 months, I'd say, and he looked at all the different squads that you come up against now in Serie A and in La Liga. So there's points for Guardiola as well. You've got teams that pretty much all play very, very similar systems. And the same in Germany, you have a few of these like 3-6-1s and all that type of stuff in Germany. But for the large part, it's based around the what was 4-2-3-1, most of the systems that you see around the top leagues. What you have in England that's different is you've got West Brom, who rely solely on set pieces, and you've got teams that will play the long ball, and you've got strong teams and you've got smaller teams. And that's the difference, is when a manager can come in and go, to win this league, I not only need to be able to beat passing sides, but I need to be strong at set pieces. I need to be able to play against sides like Leicester from last year who hoof the ball over the top and chase down the channels. What is the best way that I can get a squad playing that will beat every single one of them? Whereas what Guardiola's done is what he's done in his previous seasons. He's played exactly the same way because he's used to coming up against certain systems. Conte and actually Pochettino as well, switching between the four at the back and the three at the back.
That's what Wenger's done as well over there, until right near the end of the season when he went three out the back. Yeah. That's what he's done over the years, and it's cost him as well.
That's like, why it's the hardest.
That sort of, like you said, that sort of arrogance where you go into it and you say, it's West Brom, I don't care, we're better than you, we're going to play our system. You sometimes have to switch it up, like you said, in the Premier League, it's a hard league to win. Hard.
Conte's done that, and he's done
been
it with
brilliant.
a bomb, and he's won, 4 league titles on the bounce now. In different seasons, obviously had the spell in Italy and stuff like that. He's won 30 games, which is a Premier League record, I believe. You know, he's won 30 games in a single season. Brilliant. Unbelievable.
I'll tell you what then, go on Louis, switch it up. You pop that up to the top there.
Oh, that's lovely.
There you
Love
go.
that.
Right. Man City in 5th. So that's our season review on Social Club. Check out, what was it, 6th to 12th and 13th to 20th, where we talk about all the teams in the Premier League. And get your predictions in for next season. Should we do
What
that?
about the show on the FA Cup?
Oh,
we'll talk about
go away!
We can do that privately if you want. Check them all out. Really good chat. We're going to be doing our Prem Predictor. People loved it, didn't they? We've got to do it again.
We're doing it today.
Not doing it today. We're going to do it
We should do
in
it today.
August. So yeah, but stick around and check out all the videos from Social Club this week. We're going to be talking about Arsenal, Arsene Wenger, his new contract in Arsenal Club. So check that out as well. And Team of the Year. It's the last one. It's strikers. You got Kane, you got Sanchez, you got the Costa, all battling it out. So make sure you don't miss that one as well. Subscribe to Ball Street, and we'll see you next time.